everyone, welcome back to the campaign log. Last we left off, they were preparing to launch an attack on the local cult leader in Rustyard, Lady Winifred, who had pretended to be a good guy. Their plans from the last episode worked, except for, well, I shouldn't say that. One of their plans worked. Adriel here passed his save against the scrying, so they weren't able to scry, so they had to teleport outside, lockpick the door to the basement of the church, and then step through the symbol of laughter. I think they all made their save after like hero points or luck points or whatnot. And of course they all had most of them had like +4 various bonuses versus mind affecting and compulsion and all that. But the monk, they were all invisible, and because they had all passed their save against the symbol, they were able to continue in stealth. They got fairly close up in this area, and then I think the monk even got like right up against her, and they got a surprise round. All of them did, because they were either far away enough that penalties of perception kept them hidden, or the monk just had a really high stealth once he was invisible. So he went up, he used the Cyclops helm for a nat 20 while to disarm Lady Winifred and just keep hold of her sword. Which, if I go over here into combat, this is how much her sword does. And I'm just gonna, just to set where you can see the crit damage, I'm gonna go ahead and override it to a nat 20. So on a normal hit, she does around 87 damage, because she's improved vital striking with a large impact adamantine. So she's doing huge size damage with improved vital strike, so a lot of damage, although it does look like I rolled quite well in damage here, and her smite buff is still going. But on a crit, you're looking at 100 up to 180. Yeah, she would have been 1 or 2 shotting most of the characters if she had her sword, but they took that way. And her claws with vital strike, I'll go ahead and override to a nat 20 here as well. Not nearly as effective. 41 damage here, 76 on crit. I think a lower crit range, lower to hit bonus. Not I mean, she was mostly dealing the monk. She did get a bit of damage in once, but not after that. The wizard, I think he got like a spell off. This was several days ago, so mind my memory. Yeah, it looks like he attempted dazing magic missile. Oh no, the dazing magic missile and controlled fireball, I was demonstrating what he could have done if they had not knocked him unconscious in like a round. Actually no, it took a few rounds to knock him unconscious. He's got 54 non-lethal, but the Scald had done a cone of I think confusion is just a cone spell. They cast confusion. All creatures within a 15-foot radius burst. So that was pretty much just Adriel and Lady Winifred. Lady Winifred made her save. She's a level 13 anti-paladin. She's got charisma in her saves. Her saves are really high, except for her reflex. That's because her dexterity is 0 currently, because she was also knocked unconscious. Eventually, the Drow cultists started throwing silences to mess with the Scald. They started dispelling the monk to lower his AC. This guy right here, he dispelled the monk and then surrendered on the same turn. And the monk, called BS, and I was like, I mean, are you gonna not accept his surrender? He went prone. His hands are in his head. And the other two, when they started getting low on hit points and surrounded by marshals, they ended up doing the same thing. They dispelled the monk, casting defensively, and then surrendered. And ultimately, the heroes won by a landslide because of their plan to A, mess with the priest and don't let him cast anything, and B, take away Lady Winifred's super powerful sword. Of course, it also helped that Adriel was confused the entire fight, and Lady Winifred, she's confused for one round because the gunslinger, I don't know if it's a base gunslinger thing or an archetype ability, but target ahead, target is damaged normally and also confused for one round with no save. So she effectively lost a turn on top of only having like 3 to begin with and not having her primary weapon. For the second half of the fight, I kept hyping up an ability she got, her transformative, that happens when she hits below 0 hit points. And some of them thought I was joking, some of them thought we're doomed. But no, it's just don't die. You're instead negative 1 hit point and stable. So she did have one, it just didn't really affect the fight very much. So yeah, they won the fight pretty quickly. They started doing downtime and selling. A couple of players left early because there was just a lot of math with the massive pile of loot they got. Yeah, because they got like a bunch of like Lady Winifred, I think, had a +4 headband of mental superiority, which is all 3 mental stats, and I think also a head or a belt of several physical stats. I don't quite remember. Either way, there was like 2 or 3 really expensive belts and headbands, and they pretty much just wanted to sell them and buy 1 to 2 ability score belts and headbands at like the same bonus, which, because they can sell at 70% to their merchant friend down in the capital of the barony of Rosegrove, they were only like, you know, like 100 or something gold short at a time for selling the more combined headbands and belts to get lesser ones at the same bonus. So everyone pretty much got what they wanted, except the gunslinger, who didn't really benefit from headbands or belts very much. So he just got a larger cut of the gold. And they sold all the other stuff. They all got their gold. Some of them are saving up for stuff. Some of them are spending it. And one of them is retraining, like their entire character. They're switching to, I believe, is whips and size because they're going the Mortal Usher route. So instead of being a war priest, they are now 1 level of Tower Shield Specialist Fighter, 5 levels of Crusader Cleric, and a level of Envoy of Balance, which is a prestige class about basically neutral divine casting, and 2 levels of Mortal Usher. Now you may ask, how did he get a Psychopomp friend when the campaign has not involved Psychopomps at all up to this point? Well, there's a very easy answer. He worships the Occult Dragon. That's where he gets his power from. And in my world, the Occult Dragon is the god that handles the Psychopomps. Like, it created the Psychopomps, etc. So, he pretty much just asks, can I just, like, pray for it? At this point, he's like, well, you're only level 9, but you do get your power directly from him, but it's an elder god, so they don't really have to pay attention very much for that, and you have to do more to get their attention. but you are of the category of Dragonborn that falls under the category of dragon that the occult dragon is also the god of. The primal Dragonborn, I believe. No, not primal. Maybe. Imperial. He's the underworld dragon. Imperial. Yeah. See, he falls into the right category of dragon. So I had him give a percentile for chance of successful prayer. He rolled a 95, which would have succeeded on its own. But then he was like, "Can I spend a hero point to bump that up to a 100?" And I was like, "You don't need to, but you can." So he did. So he got what in normal Pathfinder I believe is considered a Psychopomp Usher. So basically the highest tier of Psychopomp. I did not find that term until he told me about it. So what I have them set as is Wardens, because they're kind of like Wardens of Purgatory. I basically had one for each direction, northeast, southwest, up, and down, because I imagine Purgatory as a sphere. And they each get a direction, and the seventh one is the Warrant Judgment. So I had him roll me. So at first, I fleshed out what each of the warrants were like. I named them with their titles, and then picked what domains they each have, and then asked him to roll me a d7 to choose between them. He rolled a 1, which would be the Warder in the North, which has the all of them have Death domain with the Psychopomp subdomain and Repose domain with Psychopomp subdomain as their the most common situation among their followers, because they are powerful enough to have their own clerics. And this guy rolled rolled 95 and then spent a hero point on it to effectively roll 100. So now he is going to be taught by getting direct lessons from a Psychopomp an outsider that can grant cleric levels to followers. Fun times. Anyways, 1 was pretty much the best for him, because 1 was the healing and protection domains, which basically meant shields. And he's a shield build, so not only did he get his Mortal Usher levels, and he won't have to train with the Psychopomp anymore, like he can just keep taking levels in that class, but since he was retraining, he needed to be taught by someone, and also the first level of the class needs to be taught by a Psychopomp. Thing is, powerful outsiders like that, the outsider lords, are not supposed to head to the material plane, so he actually got effectively a 2-day vacation to Purgatory to train. And the reason it's only 2 days is because he asked, and I just said go ahead, are all of these classes except for the Tower Shield Specialist Fighter, or I think Fighter might by default be, what was the term? Retraining synergy. Yeah. So Crusader Cleric, I don't know if he asked about the Fighter, but I mean, I think Fighter and Cleric, War Priest is a hybrid class of Cleric and Fighter. I imagine they're both retraining synergy classes, but I think it like halves the time it takes to retrain or something. But apparently the 8 class levels the 8 class levels, because he just leveled up to 9, so he didn't actually have to retrain that one. He can just wait till after retraining to level up. But it would take 40 days with retraining synergy, so he bought a Mortal Wish. So he basically went to the Wizards Guild again. This group is getting wishes fairly often. Or no, I think this is their first time doing it, but someone was asking the price because they wanted to wish away some lesser Transformers to make room for a cooler one. But yeah, he bought a wish to speed up the retraining. I basically told him, yeah, it's a day per class level now. So they're taking 8 days, I believe, of downtime minimum, because he spent those retraining, and then he leveled up one more time after that. And he got was effectively a bonus trait from, being trained by an outsider lord. I gave him the choice: do you want a minor bonus to healing or shields? Because healing domain, protection domain. And of the two Psychobomb worms that have the protection domain, this one is a bit more about shields and just straight up preventing damage in the first place. So he chose shields, of course. I knew he was going to do that. I just didn't want to assume. So he get the armor check penalty of the shield. Any shield he wields is reduced by 1. The arcane spell failure is reduced by 5%, which he won't use because he doesn't have arcane spells. And once per day, as a supernatural ability, as a swift action, he can cause his shield to block magic missiles for 1 round per hit die. So, not that useful. He basically just doesn't have to buy a wand of shield at that point, is what that does. It's not really that powerful. It sounds cool, but it's not. It really isn't. It's cool, but not powerful. That's a great way to do special abilities, is cool but not powerful. And then he wanted to. So he wanted a cohort. He's going to be taking leadership. And he wanted a cohort to be tiny size so that way he could fit in a bag of holding and do alchemy specifically to make transformatives is what he's building for in the bag of holding. And be able to just like make potions on the fly without ever being in any danger. And initially he asked, can we just have it like have had a transformative at some point in the past that shrinking is like, no, you can't have it start with a transformative. A, you can't have it start with transformative, and B, you cannot just choose that it made him smaller. And then I made a joke about he could always go full Legend of Zelda and have a fairy as a cohort. He ended up asking about I think it's pronounced a nosoi. It's a type of psychopomp that's tiny sized. It's like a little raven or other songbird or something, and it's it's a psychopomp. It's an outsider and it's tiny. Thing is, it doesn't have hands, but he's going alchemist anyways, so he's going to be getting it. I think it's vestigial arm is the alchemist discovery that gives you extra arms. So, and the archetype he's taking for it, it's like insider alchemist or something. It gives monk stuff, and one of the things it gives is the ability to hold your breath for an hour per point of constitution. So it's going to be in the bag of holding with a tiny sized alchemy set and a table, and it's going to be brewing away making alchemy stuff. He rolled ability scores for the cohort. He got the equivalent point by 31. 10, 12, 16, 17, 14, and 11. I don't think he started working on it on the table. I'm not even sure if he has permission to create character sheets. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. There we go. And then set permissions, configure ownership. All players, observer, player, owner. Save changes. There we go. So while he was in purgatory, he picked up a cohort. And that's where we left off so far. The next... Oh, he also asked about genie wishes. Because he needed... I don't remember what he needed it for. I think he just wants a template. For... I don't remember what the template was, but he wanted a genie wish for it, is the point. Right, he wanted it to get extra arms. And a dual wielding ability that reduces penalties for multi-weapon fighting. But after a while I was just kind of clicking through Foundry while hanging out with him after session talking about this, and I remembered I had this dungeon as a work in progress, and it's probably gonna be hard to see because the map's a bit sized up compared to how many pixels it actually is. There's a genie lamp that I put in this treasure room when I was making the map, And yeah, I was like, so I was going here, I saw the big treasure room, I was like, oh, actually, you know, I know where you could get a genie wish, and it's a genie and a lamp. So the genie wish is that means it's an old genie, so it's gonna be even a bit more powerful than regular genie wishes. So he's gonna be dragging them here through what you might be able to recognize as a heavily modified version of the Tomb of Horrors. Except unlike other modified versions I've done before, this one is much closer to the original. I got rid of all the instant deaths as well. There are some quick deaths, but it's only going to be one person at a time if it is any. And they're going to have a chance to get out. And that's mostly just these elemental doors over here. I haven't really prepped past this point over here, but I mostly have. I put the map together. I know what's over here, but enough spoilers for now. Yeah. So yeah, they're taking minimum 8 days of downtime, and then they'll be doing a dungeon that has nothing to do with the main quest, just a way for me to torture my players because someone wanted genie wishes and got a bit ambitious. But yeah, they'll have a decent amount of fair warning before they go in, but I think they're still going to do it because with those fair warnings are going to come. But yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of treasure in there. A lot of adventure corpses that had the loot taken off them by the time we got there. The place has compiled quite a bit of treasure, which I'm going to have to build that treasure room. It's mostly going to be gold pieces, but there's some cool stuff in there as well, other than just the genie lamp. And of course, they're going to have to fight a really powerful boss that's going to be a high-level wizard, I think. Maybe, yeah, wizard. It's going to be a wizard. So, meta magic galore. Anyways, that'll be it for this episode. I will see you guys next time.